All right, let's just dive right into it. Today, we're dissecting the goal. Now, I really don't want you to look at the goal as just, another dry lecture on work or manufacturing. Forget that. Instead, we're going to use Eliyahu M. Goldratt and Jeff Cox's masterful framework in the goal as a really sharp lens. We're using it to expose the hidden choices that are secretly running your entire system. See, the goal is really about the true architecture of how things actually get done, and honestly, more importantly, why they don't. Goldratt and Cox literally wrote this to wake us up.
So think about this for a second. Name the one part of your life that you just keep improving even though it changes almost absolutely nothing. Seriously, I kind of want to challenge your proudest habits right now. When the pressure really cranks up in your life or your business, your gut instinct is probably to just fall back on your strongest discipline, right? But what if I told you that under all that pressure, that exact, highly responsible feeling discipline might actually be your biggest trap?
A trap. You see, the really wild thing is, the wrong choice rarely ever feels wrong. That's the whole secret. It feels mature. It feels super useful. Honestly, it feels incredibly responsible. But the harsh truth? It's holding you exactly where you are. No real progress, just motion.
Goldratt and Cox were absolutely brilliant in how they laid out this map of reality. They didn't just write some boring, dry textbook. No way. They actually wrote a business novel. It's about a failing plant manager named Alex Rago. Now, Rago doesn't lack effort. The guy works incredibly hard. What he lacks is a true map of his system. And Jonah, the mentor in the story, he doesn't just hand Rago a nice, neat list of answers. Instead, he puts him in this sort of Socratic pressure chamber. Why? Because a well-placed question can cut way deeper than simple advice ever could. It practically forces you to look past the fluff and actually see what your vanity metrics are hiding.
We all tend to polish the busy machine, simply because our pride absolutely loves motion. We all do it. But here is the kicker. The system feeds the bottleneck last. You really have to realize that improving the wrong point in your workflow doesn't just waste a bit of time, it actually makes the entire system worse. It's literally like creating a massive traffic jam and then just standing there, proudly admiring the shiny cars.
Think about the old model. It totally worships local wins. It basically asks each isolated little part of your life to just look impressive all on its own. But true refinement? Refinement demands that you serve the flow. You've got to stop finding that false, cozy comfort and just measuring local efficiency. We have to face the pretty harsh reality of measuring only what actually moves the entire system forward.
Just picture a restaurant kitchen on a crazy packed Saturday night. Every single cook in there is moving incredibly fast. The grill's absolutely firing, the prep station is chopping like mad, but the pass, the spot where the food actually goes out to the dining room, it's completely buried under tickets and dying food. At that point, it doesn't matter at all how fast the cooks are working. The kitchen is fast, sure, but the dining room, the customers only feel the delay. And guys, that is exactly what happens when your intelligence and effort serve the wrong part of the system.
So it's absolutely crucial that we define our terms clearly here and just strip away all the corporate jargon. Throughput is simply the rate of movement toward your actual goal. Inventory, on the other hand, is effort that's trapped inside the system. Now think about your personal life. Local efficiency usually just produces excess inventory. What does that look like? Well, it looks like mental fatigue, endless scheduling noise, or just pages and pages of unused notes. Actual throughput is the stuff that actually crosses the finish line. Everything else, it's just trapped effort.
Take a look at these tall bars here. That is your local capacity. That's where you just keep adding effort everywhere, really hoping it matters. But see that tiny bar? That is your system flow. That right there is your narrow throat. The visual reality we're looking at is undeniable. Your system is literally going to drown in all these excellent little fragments if you keep ignoring that narrow throat.
I want you to imagine a line of scouts hiking through the woods. The line starts to stretch out, right? The fast kids pull ahead, kind of showing off how quick they are. But way in the back is Herbie. He's the slowest hiker. He's struggling under his heavy pack, dropping further and further behind. The troop is literally breaking apart. And the profound realization you get from this is simply, the troop only moves at the speed of its constraint.
You see, you do not improve that troop of scouts by standing up at the front and praising the kids with the fastest legs. That doesn't help. You improve the troop by moving Herbie all the way to the front. You let his pace govern everything. And maybe you even have the others help carry his pack. Absolutely nothing changes until the constraint is actually put in charge.
Now, calling someone Herbie isn't an insult. Herbie isn't some shameful weakness to be hidden away. Herbie is the absolute truth of the system. He's where the fantasy ends and your pride just has to kneel. The constraint is, quite simply,
Your system speaking plainly to you.
Plainly. And the plain truth refuses to play along with your favorite story. It forces you to take a hard look around the room, totally strip away all your excuses, and finally see what actually sets the terms of your success.
So let's see how this actually builds into real self-mastery. The constraint isn't always some big metal machine in a factory. Sometimes your true bottleneck is just sleep. Sometimes it's courage. Sometimes it's a super unclear standard, or maybe a really difficult conversation that you just keep postponing. Think about it. Buying fancier productivity tools is purely theatrical if your actual bottleneck is a conversation you're just too afraid to have.
To fix this, Goldratt offers us a recurring discipline of attention. It breaks down into 5 incredibly sharp steps. Number 1, identify the constraint. 2, exploit the constraint. 3, subordinate absolutely everything else to it. 4, elevate the constraint. And 5, repeat the whole process. Your calendar, your daily schedule, and yes, even your pride, they all must explicitly and relentlessly obey the constraint.
Listen, the hardest part of strategy is not about finding more force or working harder. The hardest part is actually stripping away this idea of equal respect for unequal causes. Some tasks simply do not matter as much as others, period. True refinement is having the courage to finally rank them.
The old paradigm tells you to just keep adding more effort. Wake up earlier, work harder, grind it out. But the new paradigm, the one we learned from the goal, it tells you to change the order. You do not have a time problem, you have a sequence problem. And right now, all that continuous, busy motion is just acting as camouflage. It's hiding your fear of tackling the real bottleneck. So I want you to stop asking where you look weak. Seriously, drop it. Instead, I want you to start asking where your absolute greatest strength just piles up with nowhere to go. Ask yourself, where does your very best habit produce only inventory rather than actual, meaningful change? Now, when you finally embrace this, there is a cost. You're going to lose the warm, fuzzy comfort of just being busy all the time. But what you gain in return is the much calmer, unstoppable power of central focus. You just have to be willing to let one ugly fact reorganize the entire room.
This explainer gives you the framework, for sure, but actually living it, that practice is a daily discipline. If you're ready to bring this system into your personal practice and really lock it in, deep dive the philosophy at upgowise.com.
I'm going to leave you with this final thought to just sort of linger on. Take a hard look at your life, look at your work, and ask yourself, honestly, which effort should stop serving your pride? Find the constraint and start serving flow.